It's November. And you know what that means. It means now is the time. Stop checking out your... It is time to read your NaNoWriMo novel on 5 from a Town. The rules of this challenge are you can pick anything you want and read for however long you want. I'm starting from the beginning and I'm warning you it's a Homestuck AU. And I have no shame about that. Mine begins kind of weird. It's not how the rest of the story goes. I'm trying to scroll up to the top now of my 11 pages thus far. Here we go. Prospect High School, home of the Fighting Durst. John. The day was nothing special. John woke up, packed his lunch, wandered off to school. His dad drove him, even though he could have driven himself. But his dad liked doing it, and he was on his way to work, and so John didn't mind. Dave. The light was so bright it hurt his eyes, but that was normal. Before he woke up, before he had even processed everything all the way, the sunglasses were on, and that was normal. Stumbled down the stairs, Bro was sitting there all calmly with his stupid shades on, and when Dave looked closer, he realized that Bro wasn't sitting calmly, but was asleep. Dave didn't think twice about it. Bro kept some weird hours. Apparently, he was also drunk as shit when he got home, because there were throwing stars in the fridge. Again. Rose. You woke up at 5 in the morning to go running on the treadmill, do your hair, brush and floss twice to make sure you got everything, had breakfast where you and your mom didn't say anything, but she looked at you and sighed deeply, and you tried to pretend that you didn't care, but you did, because no matter how much you tried, you were never going to be good enough to be the daughter of the second wealthiest family in the city. Jade. Jade woke up with a white dog wrapped around her and with fur in her mouth. Beck, she said, you have to move, Putty. He didn't move, so she sighed and rolled over a little bit to try to make him less comfortable. He sighed, farted loudly, and got off the bed to stretch and shake out his fur. She did her hair, put on her favorite skirt, the one with the buttons, and put on his vest. Time for work. Aradia. She woke up at 5 after getting home at midnight, did her homework until it was time for Sai and Solix to wake up, and then she made sure their alarms woke them up, and in the case of Solix, kept messing with him and poking at him until he actually got out of bed. She made breakfast as fast as she could, the boys ate, she drove Solix to school even though he could have walked and would have to walk home. In the trunk of her car were bolt cutters, an EMF detector, and a work uniform. She couldn't remember the last time she wasn't just a little bit tired. Tavros woke up and couldn't feel his legs. He was scared for a moment before realizing that this is how things had been for almost a year. It wasn't his fault that the accident had gotten hurt, but sometimes he felt like the world was punishing him. He'd wake up after thinking that he was going to die screaming, remember he didn't die. You hated dreaming, and you didn't much care for waking up. Oh, hey, I changed tense there. That's not good. Solix. This was one of the good days. You woke up and everything seemed great, and you looked out in the mirror, and you realized that everything looked beautiful, and it was so pretty, and you wanted to share it with the world. Mirror should be window there. Hang on a sec. Aradia came in to make sure that you'd woken up like your alarm wanted you to, but you had already been awake. You'd been looking at the beauty of the world. She can tell that everything is amazing for you, and she just doesn't see it, and she looks at you and tells you to take your pills. And you know that you'd rather die in a fire than take your pills and deal with all the side effects. If you'd remembered to take them last night, you'd still be asleep, and she'd be threatening you if you didn't get up, but you just couldn't get up, and you didn't know how to explain this to her. She stayed in the room until you'd taken one pill out of each bottle and swallowed them. It felt like poison creeping up your veins, but you didn't know how to explain that either. Pulled on some clothes without really thinking and grabbed some of the Pop-Tarts she'd warmed up for you. School today would be good. Carcat. You're not in a good mood when you wake up, but you hardly ever are. You work the shit out of your hands, and you don't know what for, and you got yelled at your boss, and you didn't know what for, and you had to work in a plant owned by one of your least favorite people, and you knew that you needed the money, and you knew what for that, but still, you were an unhappy Carcat when you walked to school. Nepeta. She woke up and smelled like cat, and felt cat, in a way that no one could understand without actually waking up with about 12 cats on them. Nepeta liked the smell and the hair, but it wasn't an always looked, so she grabbed some grubby, hairy clothes and some freshly laundered clothes that she'd stored in bags and left. Her mom asked if she was going to the benefit on the way out, and she was ambiguous about her answer. Called the shelter to make sure everything was okay. Got to school and changed into clothes that didn't have cat hair on them, wandered the halls trying to both look like she wasn't going anywhere and like she was looking for somewhere. She was looking for her best friend because he had to be around there somewhere. An outside observer would think that Kanaya Mariam woke up and looked like a Russian supermodel. And she did, in fact, look like a Russian model, just not super. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. Teresa can't see. Right. Here we go. I'm going to skip one. Vriska. She woke up screaming. She could never explain what the fire was, but she'd clearly gotten burned, and that was something she was never going to escape, because she was once really beautiful, and she knew it and was frequently reminded of it. And now when she woke up, she didn't have a left eye or a left arm, and that was a slap in the face for her. Put on the arm, put a sweater on to cover the arm, put in the shell to make it look like it was a real eye. You'd never be able to drive yourself to school. You'd need depth perception for that. So you try to hide behind yourself when you walk to school. I pressed the wrong button. Yeah, this is just going to be a long-ass video. Gamzee. He didn't so much wake up as come down off his high. Eridan. Eridan's is boring. Pfeffery's obnoxiously rich. Then I have like 12 pages of Friska going to school. And then John is incredibly awkward. Here we go, hang on a sec. Dave looked at him from across the room. They didn't even need to talk for this conversation to happen. You think she's hot? Go for it then. You're an attractive guy. She may be into you. But what do I say? Go up to her, do your little thing where you're just nice to her, show her around, I don't know, be her friend. Because being yourself is enough to make anyone fall madly head over heels. Actually, Dave would probably have spat out some weird reference to popular culture and then something about porn. Then I've got some really long things about Solix in programming class. Terezi is snarky as shit. Sephiroth is still an ass. Okay. This is actually the first year that I've written like a fan fiction for Nano. I normally frown upon that, but this is just like a AU that I've had in my head for a while, and Rosa's from Australia, and Kanaya's a Russian model, except she's not because she gave up that life, and Eridan's sadly become my favorite character. I mean, I'm not like a huge Eridan fan, but he's so insecure, and he blames himself for everything that's wrong, and Pfeff is rich to the point of just being completely clueless about things. Like, where's the rest of the house sort of thoughts. Anyway. Oh, hey, look, we're a 7-minute video. Yeah. I would be impressed if anybody actually sat through that whole thing. So if you did sit through that whole thing, leave a comment saying, "Hooray, pillow fights," and I will give you a gold star. Science!